Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Courtney, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today we'll be reacting to 1948's Rope. It's by Alfred Hitchcock. I decided to go with this one next on my Alfred Hitchcock journey, and then I'm going to get into many more films on my channel. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. They have been a lot of fun so far. But before we get into the reaction, just real quick, if you are supporting over on Patreon, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching this video with military affiliation, thank you so much for your service. So guys, we're going to get into it. We're not going to waste any more time, and I hope that you guys enjoy my reaction to 1948's Rope. And I'm going to be on the lookout for Alfred Hitchcock. Watch him slip past me again. Oh.
Open it.
What in the world? I wasn't expecting to see a murder out the gate.
Don't.
Got to see if there's
I
anything.
know. Let's stay this way for a minute.
So there wasn't a clear plan?
Philip, we don't have too much time. It's the darkness that's got you down. I'll open these, all right? There, that's much better.
Oh, I thought they were like in a warehouse or something.
Pity we couldn't have done it with the curtains open in the bright sunlight.
Oh, that's how you get down.
You can't have everything, can we? You better put those away. Put them in my checkbook drawer behind that metal box.
Poor Philip, he is not cut out for this.
It's a museum piece now. We really should preserve it for posterity, except it's such good crystal, and I'd hate to break up the set.
We're concerned about Crystal?
David Kentley had his last drink. Well, the Davids of this world merely occupy space, which is why he was the perfect victim for the perfect murder.
I am just as stunned.
In less than 8 hours, he'll be resting gently but firmly at the bottom of a lake.
Meanwhile, he's here. It's not locked.
All the better. It's much more dangerous. Anyway, the lock's too old. It won't work.
I wish we had him out of here. I wish it was somebody else.
It's a trifle late for that, don't you think?
Yeah, he's already not breathing.
You frightened me. You always have. Part of your charm, I suppose.
So why'd you go along with all of this then?
The power to kill can be just as satisfying as the power to create.
Interesting line right there.
An immaculate murder. We've killed for the sake of danger and for the sake of killing.
So y'all wow.
You're not really frightened anymore, are you, Philip? You can't have fear, you know. Neither of us can.
Brandon's very full of himself.
They talk about committing the perfect crime, but nobody does it. Nobody commits a murder just for the...
I think it's very telling how Brandon was struggling with that champagne bottle.
To David.
Yeah, he's
Of course.
shaking.
How did you feel
When?
during it?
Don't remember feeling very much of anything. Until his body went limp. Then I felt tremendously exhilarated.
Brandon, you don't think the party's a mistake, do you?
The Kentleys couldn't be duller if they tried. But we did have to have them. After all, they are David's mother and father.
Oh, that's just terrible.
Janet'll be buttering them up, poor girl. She's banked everything on hooking David. Somehow, I don't think she's going to succeed.
Oh, the sarcasm.
Well, she can switch back to Kenneth tonight. Philip,
What?
take the other one.
What the devil are you doing?
That way no one will open it.
Making our work of art a masterpiece. I just thought it'd be nice to have supper in here. On this.
Oh, never mind. But then again, technically, yeah, they still wouldn't be able to open it.
At least this way no one will try to open it.
Bingo.
I don't think you appreciate me, Philip. Don't want to leave our guest of honor alone during supper. We have a very simple excuse right here. After all, old Mr. Kentley's coming mainly to look at these books. Now, what could be better than to have them laid out neatly on the dining room table?
This is all just so interesting and just quite shocking.
You start on the books
Who
now.
is it?
Mrs. Wilson.
Philip is probably going to crack at some point.
Brandon.
Brandon! Well, go on, yank it out.
I can't.
A stupid display like that in front of somebody else will be just as good as a confession. If you let me keep the light on before as I'd wanted, I would have seen
All
it.
right. You're perfect.
We have to be, Philip. Being weak is a mistake.
Because it's being human.
Because it's being ordinary.
Brandon is a very interesting character.
If it weren't for the traffic, I'd have been here a half hour ago.
Oh, it's just as well. We didn't expect you back until now.
But I tell you, the next time we give a party, I'm only going to
Good evening,
sit...
Mrs. Wilson.
Mr. Ketley's coming to look at these old books I had in the chest.
Well, I think it looks downright peculiar.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the twist is going to be in this movie.
What's to be done with the books?
Oh, we'll lay them out on the dining room table.
A crazy idea, if you ask me.
What on earth's the matter?
I was sure she'd notice.
Notice what?
The rope, of course.
It's only a piece of rope, Philip. An ordinary household article. Why hide it?
Well, you really shouldn't parade around with the murder weapon. See, he's having too much fun with this.
There's champagne in the icebox.
Oh, we're not giving them champagne.
We are.
We only serve champagne at Mr. Cadell's on very high occasions.
Tonight, Mrs. Wilson, you'll have an opportunity to renew that romance. Mr. Cadell's coming.
Oh my.
What are the odds?
Rupert's coming?
Oh, yes, I thought I told you.
Oh, I must say I did enjoy
No,
working for Mr.
you
Cadell.
didn't.
Such a gentleman.
We're chipping away at Philip little by little.
I thought you liked Rupert.
I do.
He's the one man who might appreciate this from our angle, the artistic one.
I'm glad it excites you. It frightens me.
It concerns me completely.
He could have invented and he could have admired, but he never could have acted. That's where we're superior, Philip. We have courage. Rupert doesn't.
See, he has a superiority complex.
You got your sleeve in the celery, Mr. Phillip. Oh, they're here. Well, now, mind you, don't you be so busy at that piano that you don't eat anything. Getting too thin. There wouldn't be this last-minute hustle-bustle if you kept my table.
The way she walked away and was fussing.
Hello, come in.
How are you, Brandon?
Fine.
Philip.
Just put your hat there.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, not me getting upset with Philip.
Hello, Kenneth. Good to see you.
You too. Why is it I'm always too early at parties?
Probably because you're always on time.
That'll do it.
It isn't someone's birthday, is it?
It's, really almost the opposite. Philip's bidding the world a temporary farewell tonight. I'm driving him up to Connecticut after the party.
I'm to be locked up.
What? To make sure he practices 6 hours a day.
I think that's some foreshadowing.
Looks like a pretty small farewell party.
Oh, well, we're really killing two birds with one stone.
Mm-hmm.
Is David going to be here?
Of course.
Who else is coming?
Oh, no one you don't know, if that's what's bothering you. The Kentleys, Janet Walker.
Janet. Brandon. Janet and I are all washed up.
Oh.
you know?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's what's going on.
Janet and David are...
Hello, Mrs. Wilson.
Oh, are what?
And cheer up. I have the oddest feeling anyway that your chances with the young lady are much better than you think.
Be careful of my hair. It took hours.
You look lovely.
I won't by the time it's all paid for.
She does look really nice. I like the outfit and the hair on her.
I bet you're going to play a foul trick on all of us and become horribly famous.
I believe you've met.
Hello, Ken.
Hello, Jan.
What would you say to some champagne?
Hello, Champagne. You see what I mean about trying to be funny?
Oh, that was supposed to be funny?
I could really strangle you, Brandon.
What have I done now?
The way this is written, so good.
Why did you invite Kenneth? We called it quits ages ago, and I'm practically engaged to his best friend.
David?
Yes, David.
Oh, awkward.
After me came Kenneth. Now it's David.
Obviously, I think he's nicer.
Well, he's certainly richer.
Well, at least she's honest.
That's a new low, even for you, chum.
So she dated him, Kenneth, and David.
Rupert Cadell, he was our housemaster at prep school. Rupert only publishes books he likes, usually philosophy.
Small print, big words, no sales.
He thinks murder is a crime for most men, but...
A privilege for the few.
I see y'all took that to heart.
Oh, Mr. Ketley, so glad you could come.
Mrs. Kentley isn't well, so I took the liberty of bringing my sister-in-law, Mrs. Atmore.
Now that's a hat.
Let me take your thing.
And sorry to hear Mrs. Kentley so ill.
Oh, it's just a cold.
Oh, colds can be very dangerous this time of the year.
Really,
Exactly
I'm afraid
2
I
years
really
ago
want to
this
show
summer
up
I
to
had one
someone who really
myself.
appreciates
I was down for
personal
3 weeks because
excuse
we're just
me.
about ready.
This way, Mrs. Atwater.
She was trying to plead her case.
David!
Oh, no, this is, you've made a mistake. This is Kenneth Lawrence.
Oh my gosh.
Kenneth is often mistaken for David,
Oh,
even by
no.
people who aren't nearsighted.
Janet, my dear, I finished working out your horoscope just before we came.
Janet.
They indicated marriage very soon. Oh, you've hurt your hand.
Oh, it's nothing, just a little cut. May I get you some champagne, Mrs. Atwater?
Oh, I should adore some.
How about you go get yourself a Band-Aid first? Or something.
Is David here? Well, he called and said that he'd meet us here.
This poor family.
How's Mrs. Kentley?
As usual, it's a cold this time.
David's her only child, Mr. Kentley.
But he's my only child, too.
Why don't I call and tell her he's been detained?
No, you mustn't banter again.
Yeah, he was detained in ways that y'all don't know yet.
I'll go and call.
Would you mind taking this in to Janet?
Sure.
She's in the bedroom telephoning.
Then you'd like David to walk in.
Oh, no, that'd be too much of a shock.
That would be a shock if he walked on in.
You were born on the 14th of July. Your cancer, the crab. Good fingers, strong, artistic. These hands will bring you great fame.
Yeah, negative fame.
Your wife sends her love.
David wasn't there?
No, he'll probably be here in a minute, though.
Your touch has improved, Philip. Rupert. Rupert Cadell, the housemaster at Somerville.
I used to be.
Then you must have taught my son, David.
Hello, chum.
Oh, Miss Walker. Brandon's spoken of you.
Did he do me justice?
Do you deserve justice?
Very interesting character.
Rupert, you're the same as ever. It's awfully good to see you again. What's the occasion?
Well, I told you on the phone. It began as a little party for Mr. Kentley so he could look over those first editions. Well, I thought I'd make it sort of a farewell for Philip.
Therefore, champagne.
Yes.
You always did stutter when you were excited.
Well, I guess I'm always excited when I give a party.
He's starting to get a little anxious.
I got that special patty you like.
I don't like it anymore. Oh, no, I'm just teasing. Just teasing.
He has very dry humor.
Wonderful Mrs. Wilson. I may marry her. Where is David?
I haven't the faintest idea, but he's so late, Mr. Kentley's getting annoyed.
Brandon, exactly what is this?
Oh, I've turned the dining room into a library.
The mistletoe bough.
What was that one about?
She was a bride-to-be, and on her wedding day, she playfully hid herself in a chest. Unfortunately, it had a spring lock. 50 years later, they found her skeleton.
Oh, so it's all making sense now.
I didn't like the new girl much. Definitely Scorpio.
No, I didn't like her either.
Definitely a Scorpio.
Of course, the man I have a passion for is James Mason.
So attractively sinister. Taurus the bull, you know.
A Taurus. I love all the lines about astrology.
What is it called now? The something of the something. You know.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Mine, too. It was just plain something, I'm sure. I adored it. If I were you, I'd go easy on the patty, dear.
Come on, Kenneth.
Calories.
Don't be polite.
Heck, I'm not scared of some calories. Bring 'em on.
I really must apologize for David. I can't think what's keeping him.
White or dark?
A little of both on this for Mrs. Atwater. I don't eat it.
How queer. I never heard of anyone who didn't eat chicken. Did you, Brandon?
You should see the amount of people who do that nowadays.
Well, it happened about 3 years ago in Connecticut. Across the valley, the church bells were ringing, and in the yard, Philip was doing likewise to the necks of 2 or 3 chickens. Like Lazarus, he rose.
That's a lie!
Philip.
Oh dear.
I never strangled a chicken in my life.
Now look here, Philip.
I
Just because
never strangled a chicken, and you know it.
But it just seemed very funny, you two being so intense about an old dead chicken.
In another moment, you might have been strangling each other instead of a chicken. And personally, I think a chicken is as good a reason for murder.
Well, now, you don't really approve of murder, Rupert.
Think of the problems it would solve. Unemployment, poverty, standing in line for theater tickets.
What?
Getting tickets for that new musical. What's it called?
The something with what's her name? The careful application of the trigger finger and a pair of seats in the first row is yours for the shooting. Knives may not be used on hotel employees. They are in the death by slow torture category.
What in the world is happening?
Bird lovers, small children, and tap dancers.
Small children.
After all, murder is, or should be, an art. And as such, the privilege of committing it should be reserved for those few who are really superior individuals.
Oh, this explains Brandon's thought process.
Personally, I would prefer to have cut a throat week or strangulation day.
Y'all are just laughing.
I really don't appreciate this morbid humor.
I don't appreciate it either.
Then may I ask, who is to decide that a human being is inferior?
Right.
The few who are privileged to commit murder.
And just who might they be?
Oh, myself, Philip.
And I was just about to say he's about to tell on himself. I didn't think he was really going to do it.
Then obviously you agree with Nietzsche in his theory of the Superman.
Yes, I do.
So did Hitler.
I'd hang all incompetents and fools anyway. There are far too many in the world. Well, I'm sure Rupert, fortunately,
Oh, now, gentlemen,
has
really,
the intelligence and imagination
Please,
to...
Brandon, I think we've had just about enough.
Well, this got awkward quick.
Where did you put those books you set out for Mr. Kentley? I'd very much like to see them myself, if I may.
Mr. Kentley, wouldn't you like to see the books now?
I apologize, sir.
Oh, that's quite all right, my boy. May I use the telephone first? I'd like to talk to my wife. She may have some word of David.
Oh, that's right. The wife isn't here. I think I said earlier David's poor parents, but it's just the dad. Sorry, y'all.
You know, when I was a girl, I used to read quite a bit.
Oh, we all do strange things in our childhood.
Why's that gotta be strange?
Why don't you switch on the radio or play some records? A little atmospheric music goes a long way.
He's such a sly little devil, isn't he?
You're just now noticing?
He thinks I threw you over because David has a bigger bank account. You threw me over, John, remember? Wouldn't friend Brandon love to know that? I relax with David.
Oh.
Thanks to you.
To me?
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, you won't be relaxing with him ever again.
Oh, where's David?
You know,
David's closer than you think.
you are in love with David, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, he sort of implied I'd have a better chance with you again because David would be out of the running.
Wait. Kenneth, he pretended to be completely ignorant when I told him. He
What's
said...
going on here?
All the pieces are coming together.
I'd like to know why you had the gall to tell Kenneth he wouldn't have to worry very much longer about David and me.
I don't think that's precisely what I said.
It's the gist. It's the gist.
Some women are quite charming when they're angry, Janet.
Oh, don't start. Don't even go there.
I don't believe David's coming. He's never this late. He's never late at all. I think you deliberately arranged it so that he wouldn't come. Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourself, Brandon. I haven't.
Starting to backfire. And about time, too.
Well, you always plan your party so well, it's odd to have anything go wrong. She seems to be missing David.
But then when I was whisking out to do the shopping, he suddenly told me to take the whole afternoon for it. But when I came back, he and Mr. Philip were going at it hammer and tongs.
Oh. What about?
He's asking all the right questions.
I had everything laid out in the dining room, and it was just beautiful.
He's getting all the information.
Mrs. Wilson, please serve the guests. Don't lecture them.
Ooh. But I understand why he did that. And he's a very observant man, so... yeah, he knows something's up.
What's going on, Philip? I get quite intrigued when people don't answer questions, and quite curious. I asked you what is going on here.
A party? You want to know something? Come out with it. Otherwise...
Oh, no, temper.
See, he's getting upset.
I'd like a drink.
Oh, wait, I'll get it for you. I'll keep playing. What would you like, scotch?
No, brandy.
You know, Philip, I wish I could come straight out with what I want to know. Unfortunately, I don't know anything.
Well, what are your theories?
What do you suspect?
Oh, I've forgotten.
No, you haven't.
Where's David, Philip?
I don't know.
Brandon knows,
Does he?
doesn't he?
Not that I know.
Oh, come now.
I don't.
You're not a very good actor, Philip.
Just what is Brandon trying to do with Janet and Kenneth?
He's like, that's not what this is about.
There's nothing going on at all, Rupert.
You're, more than usually allergic to the truth tonight, Philip.
When was the first?
When you said you'd never strangle a chicken.
Brandon dreamt that up. For the sake of a very unfunny joke.
No, he didn't.
Well, you were very triggered by it.
You're quite a good chicken strangler, as I recall. We're not eating now, Philip. What'd you lie to me for?
Because I don't like to talk about...
About what?
Murder.
Can't play with that thing.
I want you to have them very much. It's extremely generous of you.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's messed up.
Don't you want Mr. Kentley to have the books?
I just think it's a clumsy way of tying them up, that's all.
See, he's putting it together. The strangling. Now there's a rope. David's missing.
Rupert's onto something.
He isn't, Noletta.
Yes, he is.
Don't you ever again tell me what to do and what not to do.
There's something upsetting both of you a great deal. Something that,
Excuse me, sir. There's a lady phoning for either Mr. Kentley or Mrs. Atwater.
Oh, it must be Alice.
Mr. Kentley, do you suppose David could possibly be home?
We're getting closer and closer to finding David.
we might have a better chance of finding out where he is now if we knew where he was this afternoon.
I'm so focused on what she's doing. I'm surprised Brandon and Philip are not paying attention.
Well, neither Philip nor I have talked to David since the day we invited him to the party.
I thought I heard David on the phone to Philip yesterday morning.
He wanted to make sure about the time, that was all.
I'll help you with that, Miss.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Cadell.
Yeah, that's all right, Mrs. Wilson. Just let the books go for now.
Well, all right.
Wow, she let up on that really easy.
Alice hasn't had a word from David. She's frantic. She began to cry so badly. Oh, Henry, I'm worried. She wants you to call the police.
The police?
Oh, no, Anita.
I love how he's looking at them instead of paying attention to the folks over here.
Brandon, I think I better go home. My wife needs me.
May I go with you, Mr. Kentley?
Thank you, Janet.
Oh, Mr. Kentley, your books.
With that daggone rope.
Would you call me as soon as you hear from David?
Be glad to.
Shame on these two.
I'm very glad we had that talk.
So am I. And David will be, too. Kenneth, why don't you come along with us?
Thanks.
Oh, going with Janet?
Yes, we're all going together.
Well, what did I predict?
So smug.
You will call me the moment you hear from David.
I will. Goodbye.
Thanks once more.
That's not yours.
I'm very sorry we had to spoil it. You could...
Oh, is that David's? Yeah, last name Kentley. Which tells him that David was here.
Well, come on, it's over. And it couldn't have gone more beautifully.
Yes, it could. Without Rupert.
He helped me say all the things I've wanted to say to those idiots. He gave the party the very touch I predicted.
Do you know how busy he was questioning me?
And I was going to say Brandon's downfall was inviting Rupert.
What touch?
Tying up the books that way. He'll ruin everything with your neat little touches.
Quiet, Mrs. Wilson's still here.
Yeah, I was wondering why y'all were going to discuss this while she was still in the building.
Have you ever bothered for just 1 minute to understand how someone else might feel? Mr. Brandon gave the party. Mr. Brandon had a delightful evening. Well, I had a rotten evening.
His evening was terrible.
Keep drinking and you'll have a worse morning.
At least if I have a hangover, it'll be all mine.
Wow.
We deserve a real holiday after it's all over. Where would you like to go?
Praying I'd wake up and find we hadn't done it yet.
But why?
He's feeling guilty, Brandon.
Scared to death, Brandon. I think we're going to get caught.
Y'all are going to get caught.
I'll need a key to get in and clean up in the morning. You don't look too well, either one of you. Don't forget to write. And mind your P's and Q's.
Mm-hmm. Hello, this is Mr. Brandon Shaw. Would you send my car around, please? Yes, right away. Thank you.
Come on, they have to find David's body.
Brandon, who's
I'll be the
that?
garage man with my car keys. Answer it.
Or it's the police.
Then maybe Mrs. Wilson forgot something. Answer it.
Couldn't we pretend we're not home?
With all these lights on, answer it, Philip.
It wouldn't surprise me if Rupert did call the police to search the premises.
Who is it? Brandon, it's Rupert.
What?
He wants to come up. He says he left a cigarette case here. He wants to come up.
Or Rupert's going to do it himself.
No, he's lying. He's caught on. He'll leave
Shut
it.
up and get back to that phone.
I won't.
Get back to that phone.
He can probably hear.
No, he knows on it.
Shut up. Rupert, come on up. Of course not. He's just a little tight. Rupert's on his way up now, and you've got to pull yourself together. Philip, did you hear me?
Philip is out of it.
Come on, have another drink if you must. But
Another drink?
Get hold of yourself and keep your mouth shut. I'm not going to get caught because of you or anyone else. No one is going to get in my way now.
Except for Rupert. That man is on to you.
Brandon, it's not loaded, is it?
Oh, it's loaded.
Any idea where you left the case?
No, not at all. I suppose a psychoanalyst would say that I didn't really forget it at all. I unconsciously left it because I wanted to come back. Why should I want to come back?
Yes. Why?
To find David's body.
The last I remember having the case, I was just going to open the chest for Mrs. Wilson when you came over, Brandon. Oh, well, here it is, right where I left it. Gentlemen, I beg your pardon. I'm very sorry. Well, may I have that drink anyway?
Of course.
You're sure it's all right?
He said you could have it.
Oh, boy. He's too on edge.
You are driving up to Connecticut tonight, aren't you?
Yes, but we're all packed.
Oh, I see. All except one guest who must be gotten rid of. Well, I'll be off.
Yeah, that was very telling.
I always hate to leave a party, especially when the evening has been unusually stimulating or strange, like this evening.
What do you mean, strange?
Philip! Philip is
Did I say strange?
losing it.
Well, I don't exactly know what I meant. Unless I was thinking about David. Well, he could have been run over or held up.
In broad daylight.
It's happened.
Yes, it must have been broad daylight when it happened.
When, what happened?
Brandon?
What's your theory?
Mine? I was considering Janet's for the moment.
Oh, I didn't know she had one.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, she was kind of loud.
I gather she thinks you kidnapped David or did something to prevent him from coming. Now, you're much better at this sort of thing than I am.
No, but what would you do if you were I?
Brandon, what? Never mind. We're just gonna let this play out.
Or better still, I'd invite him here, and no one would see us together. Probably offer him a drink. I'd try to make it all very pleasant, you understand.
I love the camera work.
He'd have to be knocked out. His body would fall forward on the floor.
Then where would you put him?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that means I'd have to find some place to hide the body until dark.
But, where, Rupert?
Think about the party. He already knows.
Cat and mouse, cat and mouse. I told you before, mind your own business.
Unless you came back to find something besides your cigarette case.
Brandon, why are you baiting?
If it weren't that you seem to be carrying fear of discovery in your pocket.
Mm.
That's a gun, isn't it?
He made it so obvious.
Well, here, you can relax. I have to take it up to the country. Philip, you'll feel much better once you get out in the open air.
Does he have a gun too?
Don't think there'll be much traffic, and we ought to make good time.
Wait a minute.
You were right, Philip. Those books were tied clumsily.
He's got it. He's got it. He knows, he knows.
Well, that's it.
I told you he'd find out. But oh no. No, you had to have him here. And now we're done for. Now I don't know. I hate both of us.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's gonna go off. Oh, ooh. Well, at least it didn't hit anybody.
If you really want to kill, you don't miss, not at that range.
Of course he didn't want to kill you. He didn't know what he was doing. And didn't want anyone to know this, but he's been becoming an alcoholic, Rupert.
Brandon, will you step over there, please?
Surely you don't take those nightmare ideas of his seriously.
Brandon.
Shut up, Brandon.
Brandon, I'm tired. And in a way, I'm frightened, too. But I don't want to fence anymore.
Yeah, no one just threatens to shoot someone for no reason.
But I'm going to look inside that chest.
Are you crazy?
I hope so. Go ahead and look.
Where's the rope?
I hope you like what you see. Oh, no. No. Rupert, I couldn't believe it was true.
It's true.
Remember we said the lives of inferior beings are unimportant?
He probably never imagined someone would actually do this.
He and I have lived what you and I have talked. I knew you'd understand because you have to, don't you see? You have to.
Are you now realizing the danger of your words?
And you've thrown my own words right back in my face, Brandon. But you've given my words a meaning that I never dreamed of.
Well, what did you think was going to happen?
You've tried to twist them into a cold, logical excuse for your ugly murder. There must have been something deep inside you from the very start that let you do this thing. Tonight, you've made me ashamed of every concept I ever had of superior or inferior beings.
There it is.
But I thank you for that shame. Because now I know that we are each of us a separate human being, Brandon. By what right do you dare say that there's a superior few to which you belong?
Ooh, this is so good.
Did you think you were God, Brandon?
Yes, he did.
Is that what you thought when you choked the life out of him? Is that what you thought when you served food from his grave? You've strangled the life out of a fellow human being who could live and love as you never could.
He better act his part.
What are you doing? It's not what I'm going to do, Brandon. It's what society's going to do. I don't know what that'll be, but I can guess. You're going to die, Brandon, both of you.
Ooh. Well, at least we're finally going to get some people to come get David and take these two off to jail. Not so smug now, huh? I love how Philip is just staring from the piano, doesn't know what to do. Rupert is just beside himself, and Brandon's over there fixing himself a daggone glass of drink. This was very, very well done. I love the writing. All the actors were wonderful. Brandon, we're going to get into everybody eventually, but I'm upset. I'm going to tell y'all why I'm upset. And it's not that I'm upset and it's meant to be taken super seriously, but I'm looking for the Hitchcock cameo. Because I said, listen, the first couple films I've watched, I've completely missed him. I'm looking at all the photos. I'm looking at everything. I'm remembering to pay attention as I'm watching. I'm like, where is this man at? So I had to look it up. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? It says that he put himself in the skyline as a neon sign. And I'm looking at the darn thing and I'm just like, how was I supposed to figure that out? But anyway, because at first I was like, did he not do it for this film? But he did, and I completely missed it. So, moving on. Oh my gosh, just the highlight for me. Obviously, Rupert figuring everything out. Like, you could tell that he was going to be the one to put everything together. But when they had the moment where they were talking about his views on murder and this superiority, inferiority thing, I'm just like, that logically doesn't make any type of sense, but okay, it's for the plot, we're gonna roll with it. And for him to have that moment thinking that when you have so much hubris within you that you think that, but then again, I kind of don't blame Brandon. Okay, I gotta backtrack a little bit. I can't blame him for thinking that Rupert would be proud of him, because Rupert, his philosophy was that, superior beings and getting away with murder and everything. So in a way, I kind of can't blame Brandon for thinking that Rupert would be proud of him for what he did, because Rupert made it seem that way. And for Rupert to have that moment of, oh crap, this is not, because, and hearing Rupert say that that's not what I meant, or again, guys, my first time watching it, but basically he was saying his philosophy was not meant to be taken the way that Brandon took it. So I just kind of sat there like, it really makes you think about the dangers of your words and what you say and how they can really influence people. Rupert having that moment of telling Brandon like no, and then having his monologue, which was amazing. I mean, that just really tied everything together. And then him going to the window and firing off those shots just so that he could get someone there to get David's body and take Philip and Brandon to jail. And you knew that Philip was going to lose it at some point, as much as he was drinking. And I'm just like, he is not doing well with this. He was not built for this at all. Brandon probably could have gotten away with it. Actually, the moment where this took a turn was when Rupert went to go get his hat. And Mrs. Wilson said, oh, I'm sorry, that's not your hat. And he noticed that it was David's hat. So if that hadn't happened, technically, Brandon and Philip may have been able to have gotten away with it. But I'm pretty sure that Rupert is smart enough that he probably would have been like, yeah, something just still isn't right. Because of everything that had already happened prior to that, maybe, he still would have come back and acted like he left his cigarette case. So it could have gone a few different ways. John. That's his name. John did an excellent job playing Brandon. He really did, very, very convincing with how he felt about the philosophy. It just done very, very well. My heart goes out for David, because David did not deserve that. And I really liked the part where the question was, again, first time seeing it, but it was something along the lines of, what was it about David that you felt like he was inferior? Like, just what like, what was it? Why it just doesn't add up. Brandon was trying to get away with the perfect murder. Philip, from the jump, like, you could tell at the very beginning, Philip was not feeling it. Even after they did it, he was just like, And Brandon wanted to throw this party, and for them to eat, the line about them eating over David's grave, that was so good. The writing in this was great, and all of the lines that talked about like the strangling, and Brandon would have little lines where he was hinting at what they did. This was done extremely well. David's dad, especially, like David's dad, everybody knew David and they knew that he was never late. So the fact that they just kind of like, and obviously nowadays we have phones and stuff and we can like call people, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they have phones in this era too. Like, what I'm saying is we can text, we can, you know, reach out to multiple people at once and say, hey, have you seen so-and-so? Because look, my family knows me. Courtney's on time, okay? And by on time, I mean I am 10 to 15 minutes early. Like, because in the entertainment industry, if you're on time, baby, you are late. So people know, like, if I'm not on time, people know that something is wrong. So my people would have been like, this isn't like Courtney. We don't believe that. We have got to figure out where she's at. Seeing the dad and then the rope. Oh my gosh. The rope wrapped around. Like, how sick can you be to give them your son's murder weapon to his father? Like, we already knew he was sick, but that's just sick. And child, couldn't have been me. I mean, it wouldn't have been me. I don't ever plan on doing that to anybody, but oh my gosh, it's just terrible. And then going back to Brandon's lines about him hinting at everything when he talked about Janet and, oh crud, what was his name? Kenneth? About, you know, they could potentially, you know, get something going again. You know, I'm saying it loosely. And they're just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And David's missing and we're not eating in the dining room. We're eating in here. What is up? What is going on? The whole philosophy with Brandon and him just looking so smug and Rupert coming in and talking about the philosophy and just, it made you feel sick to your stomach. Again, the writing in this was excellent and it really made me feel like, no, that is 100% wrong. Like, that's not the way that we should be going about things. I completely disagree with it. The nice part about this was seeing Brandon's look of confusion when Rupert was telling him off. He really thought that he was doing the right thing. But anyways, I digress. This was fantastic. This was wonderful. Thank you all so much for checking out my reaction over here on YouTube. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and please hit that notification bell so that you guys know whenever I upload. I'll see you guys in the next video, whichever one you choose to watch. And I hope you guys are having a great day so far. Wherever you're at in the world, I'm noticing that, you know, more and more people are telling me like where they're from, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this person's from Australia, this person's from Germany, this person's over in Canada. Like, hey y'all, how you doing? To all my international folk, I hope you all are doing well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.